Are you ready to have some fun with your dog? I bet she's ready. Dogs are almost always down for a good plain old fun time with their humans. You are probably their favorite playmate after all. Today I'm going to teach you 5 games you can play with your dog. With the help of my team of professionals that make up How to Train a Dream Dog, you're going to learn a few new ways you can bond with your dog. Before we begin, you should probably hit that subscribe button so you're going to get notified when more great videos like this one become available. Michelle here with How to Train a Dream Dog. Now, you might have watched my first video on the topic, how to play with your dog. Now, that one has some great tips on how to play in a way that your dog will love, but will also keep her safe at the same time. You can watch that one after this one, but I definitely recommend you watch it at some point. It has some really important tips in it that you might not be aware of. Okay, let's jump right in. Some of these games need a few pieces of equipment that you might have laying around the house, or you might want to purchase. I have put some helpful links in the description below the video, but you're going to notice that it's not so much about the tools as it is the training. That's a common theme in canine education. Tools can't substitute for training, so focus more on the actions, not so much on the stuff that you use. So, if you see an item today and you think you could substitute it with something you already have, you probably can. Now, our first game is called Hide and Seek Cones. Now, this one involves searching for a treat or a toy underneath those fun plastic cones that you can buy for obstacle courses. This game teaches scent work, persistence, and problem solving. Pro tip, you can use these cones for a variety of different things when it comes to training your puppy, including barriers that you can train her not to cross, or for the beginning of agility training, or games like this one, Hide and Seek. So they really are a good investment, and they're pretty cheap too. Now you're going to want to set up 5 or 6 cones randomly. Now if your dog's a little sound sensitive, you might want to start them on the carpet because they will clatter a little bit when they topple. Now this is my team member Allison and her pup Lincoln. Lincoln is a little skittish by nature, so Allison took the cones out a few days ago and just set them up on the floor without fanfare. Lincoln was curious and checked them out, but didn't really play the game right away. Allison wanted Lincoln to have a little time to adjust to them before engaging with them. Your pup might be a little more confident, and that's great, but it's important to know your pup's personality and take things at the pace that she is comfortable with. So Allison set up the cones in the living room. Now, you should know that Lincoln is 2 years old and he's a pro at hide and seek, so he's experienced at this game. Allison hid a treat under just 1 cone to start. Now, if your puppy is new to the hide and seek game, you might want to put 2 treats under a cone, just so she realizes that knocking the cone over is the goal. Now you can see that Lincoln had a good time hunting down that tasty treat. Now, one thing to note is that sometimes you have to help your dog just a little bit. Lincoln didn't realize that the cones were a key part of the game, and at first he started looking around the room, like he normally does for this game. Allison drew a little more attention to the cones and gave Lincoln a few hints. He caught on fast. Now the next round can be done with a toy or anything that your dog finds valuable. You can probably even play this game with some kibble as a way of feeding a meal. Now many dogs find the process of hunting and solving puzzles for part of their meal very rewarding. I recommend doing this with only a portion of their meal and letting them get the rest of their meal without really having to work for it. Now as your puppy gets used to the cone game, you might try putting the cones further apart or using different objects like plastic food containers or bowls, like this one. So just be sure to watch how your dog does and help her out of it if she gets too frustrated or the things seem complicated. And be sure to celebrate when she finds it as well. Think of these games like those you play at a birthday party, where you cheer the kids on as they do well. Now, half of the value of this game to your dog is doing it with you. So playing the games with your dog is such a great way of bonding and getting to know how your dog thinks and learns. That's one of the things that I talked about in the first video on this topic. Alright, let's check out Mary and Wilder for the Bob for Treats game. Now Wilder is 2. He's a mix of a lot of things, including Lab and Poodle, Chow and German Shepherd. He's a purebred good boy. This game is a good one for exposure training. Now the purpose is to expose your dog to new surfaces, in this case, water, in a safe and fun way. Exposing your dog to new things in a positive way is really important, especially during the critical imprint period of up to about 16 weeks of age. Now you can do it at any age, of course, but it's really, really important to do while the puppy is young. if you can. Now, check out all the important details about that topic in this video. Now, in this game, Mary filled a plastic container with just a little bit of water. Then she showed Wilder the tasty treats and dropped them into the water. Wilder had to figure out how to get those out. Now, most dogs will hesitate a bit, trying to avoid dunking their whole face in the water. But that's just one of the benefits, that it promotes problem solving while exposing the dog to a new texture or surface. Now you can see that Wilder didn't have much trouble figuring out how to get those treats. He definitely felt that the treats were worth the wet snout. Next, Mary filled the tub even more with water. So now Wilder had to really immerse that snout to get the tasty snack. He hesitated a bit more, but he was a brave new learner and he did it. He even blew bubbles. Good job, Wilder! Mary cheered him on, which was very rewarding for Wilder, and he got the tasty treats. Now, as you advance this game, you can use different containers, some more full than others. Now, you can do it in containers that have compartments, or you can even do it in a kiddie pool. Now, if you do it in a kiddie pool, eventually that pup will have to put his paws in the water to get the treat. This is great too, and it's really a great way to introduce water to those pups who don't take to it naturally. This is a great activity for a hot day as well. You can even put some ice cubes in the water as little obstacles to work around. Have fun with the game and try a few variations to see how your pup responds. Moist treats are best for this game, otherwise those dry ones will just dissolve. Moist treats are usually higher value for your pup anyway. Now the next game is called Under. Nicole and Copper are going to show you how it's done. Now, you might recognize Nicole from our Instagram channel. Nicole and I have a lot of fun sharing daily tidbits on training and safety and stories from students in our course. Okay, the object of this game is to help your pup gain more confidence by crawling under something. Now, if you think about it, dogs don't have a lot of opportunities to crawl under things. They don't often need to, but it's good to teach your puppy something new and to be comfortable in a variety of different settings. Now in this game, Nicole used a folding chair, and you're going to notice that it wasn't much bigger than Copper. That's okay, that's part of him solving problems to figure out how to actually fit under it. Now my other team member, Peg, she has a really small dog named Bitsy. When she plays this game with Bitsy, she uses a much smaller area for Bitsy to go under. So even setting up a bit of an obstacle by placing something across two low platforms like this one here, or using the cones like Allison did. So you see, you have to adjust for your dog. Now back to the game. Nicole started by placing a treat just a bit under the chair, letting Copper take it. Then she does it again, with the treat just a little bit further under the chair. Now as you see from this video, Nicole is working pretty fast to keep Copper's interest. Nicole is a professional trainer. She helps me a lot with the students enrolled in my online course at the pro level. Her training mechanics, like the speed of delivery and hand placement, are always so well done. So pro tip, if something isn't working the way you think it should, go back and check your mechanics, like timing, treat value, and maybe even your body posture. Now I have a great video about that here, which you might want to check out a little later. Now you might notice that Copper hesitates at one point. No problem, Nicole placed a new treat just a little bit closer to help Copper regain his confidence. Now you can't hear it, but it was really quiet where Nicole was teaching Copper this game. Dogs don't understand our words, so while training them, it's better to remain quiet. Let them think and work through this problem solving. Now Nicole didn't rush Copper through the process too fast, so after a while, she let Copper stop the game and then had a little play session. Now, if you watched my last video on play, you will probably remember that ending the training session with a little bit of play will help your dog retain what she's just learned. Now, time to learn another game. It's called a Laundry Basket Street. Nicole and Copper are also here to demonstrate this laundry basket game as well. Now, the purpose of this game is to build confidence with problem solving, navigating around obstacles, and exposing your puppy to new things. Now you're going to start by just lining up 3 baskets along the wall. You can throw a few things in each basket and then throw in a few treats. You're going to encourage your pup to scavenge for the treats. Now, if you have a small dog like Lincoln or Bitsy, you have to use something smaller, like a dish pan or a shallow plastic bin like the kind you'd stick under your bed. This one might work for the small dog owners. Now you can see Copper is diligently hunting for those treats and working all around the baskets to find them. The next step of this game is to block off the open access to the baskets by lining up a puppy pen or chairs on the other side. So now the baskets or the bins are sandwiched between the wall or a couch on one side and chairs or an open gate on the other. Notice how Copper had to actually step in the basket to get the treat. Now in another spot, he decided to go around and cut through the chairs. Now that's problem solving. The more times Copper and Nicole played the game, the more confident Copper got about stepping into the baskets or weaving his way through the chairs. Remember to go at your puppy's pace on this and help her out if it's a little too challenging. Now, if your puppy is nervous and hesitating, move the baskets away from the wall and let puppy investigate at her pace. Remember that confidence is not built by putting the puppy in a stressful situation where she can't complete the task. Confidence is built by helping the puppy succeed. Now, once your puppy has really figured out how to get all the treats, you can continue adjusting the game by turning the baskets around or adding a few obstacles in, or maybe covering one of the baskets with a blanket or whatever you think would work. These games are always played with a human present so you can see if it's getting too hard or unsafe for your dog. Now, these are also great games to play if it's cold or too hot outdoors, or if your pup is recovering from surgery and is limited in some of the activities they can do. Now, I have 2 great videos about those topics here and here. The last game I want to teach you involves a paper bag and a pup. The games teach the retrieval and confidence building with new surfaces. Now, this is part of the exposure training I talked about in the video I mentioned earlier. Teaching your puppy all about new sounds, textures, smells, and sights is your job as the human. Now, for this game, an open bag laying on the floor is going to be best. Now, if your dog's a little skittish, you might just have to leave it there for a while for her to check out, like Allison did with Lincoln and the cones. Now, if he's a confident guy like Pickles, just go ahead and give it a go. Now, in this video, you can see the finished product. I played this game with Pickles a long time ago, so I can't really show you the earlier steps, but I think you can see how we use the bag as a place for treats and toys. And we encourage the dog to go in and get it. The dog might not be expecting the bag to make the noise or move, but that's the part of the problem solving. Now, you can see that Pickles has no problems with this game. He remembers it from before. You can play this game with a backpack or reusable tote. For safety purposes, do not play this game with a plastic bag, including a chip bag or other food bags. And please, don't chase your puppy with it. If she's uncertain about the sound of it, chasing her will only encourage her to run from you and from the bag. That's not going to work out well for you when you're trying to teach her how to come when called. Pickles loves this game a lot, and next time we play, I'm going to make it even harder for him. I might make the bag a little smaller or put multiple things in there that he's going to have to move around to find the treat or the toy. Just watch your dog's body language and experiment with how you can make it the right level of difficulty for your dog. All right, what do you think of these games? Are you ready to play? Now you have 5 new games that you can play with your puppy, and use these to create even more games that your dog will love. In the comments below, tell me which one of these games are you going to start with, and if you play it, post a video in my Facebook group, Puppy Training with Michele Lennon. Let me know how it went, and have fun.